So this video is going to be a bit unconventional. I wanted to take a moment to discuss recent events involving the Titan Submersible tragedy, and this was the best way that I could think to do it without uploading a video that wasn't really consistent with the type of content that I upload. This is ultimately a gaming channel after all. So while this is technically my third time playing Iron Lung for the channel, I'm not actually commentating in real time. I recorded the audio and the gameplay separately. Also, keep in mind that I am not an expert. I'm literally just a guy that's been watching the news and, I want to talk about what I saw. I'm also not trying to convince you in any way how to feel about what's happened. Your emotions are yours and yours alone. Take this information in whatever way you wish. So, for those of you who have no idea what I'm talking about, allow me to enlighten you. There is a company called OceanGate. OceanGate is a company that, from my understanding, flaunts deep-sea ocean expeditions for tourists. Enter the Titan Submersible. Note that a submersible is not the same thing as a submarine. While submarines are capable of operating on their own power, submersibles are not. You know those deep-sea exploration vehicles that have to first be carried out far into the ocean before people can even enter them? Those are submersibles. However, the Titan wasn't just like any submersible. You see, the idea was basically to send the Titan deep down into the Pacific so that it could explore the Titanic wreckage. The only problem was that, in short, it wasn't really crafted all that well. There are multiple videos online explaining how dangerous this thing is, simply because of how crappy its build was. And if that wasn't enough to convince you that nobody should have ever tried to do an expedition in this thing, get this. The entire submersible was being controlled by a video game controller. You heard that right. This expensive ass submersible, designed to take people down as deep as the Titanic, was being controlled by the same thing that I used to fight bad guys on my PS2. Okay, I'll be the first to admit it. When I first heard about the situation these people were in, the first thing I thought was, yeah, no shit, problems have come up. Look, I mean absolutely zero disrespect, but who the hell would ever agree to do something like this? Oh yeah, this shoddy submersible is the only thing protecting us from instant death at the bottom of the ocean? Well, let me just hook up my GameCube real quick. As time went on though, I really started to get involved and follow this situation, and as much as it pains me to say it, just a few hours ago at the time of this recording, it was confirmed by the Coast Guard that the Titan Submersible had imploded, killing everyone on board. From what I heard, I think like the pressure chamber sustained some sort of damage or something along those lines, and that basically caused the entire thing to implode on itself, which killed everyone instantly. Now, the community has been really torn in their responses to this tragedy. Some people are saying that it's a serious matter that shouldn't be joked about, it's a tragedy, people died, etc., etc. And then there are those who really just don't give a fuck. Like the people making memes and saying that we only care about this event because the people were rich, tragedies happen every day, so why are we making a big deal about this one? Things like that. Me personally, I don't really know where I fit best in this situation. Like, I don't really agree with the notion that the passengers' wealth is what led everyone to care. I really don't. I agree that tragedies happen every day, like car crashes, fires, all that stuff. But what I think got everyone so invested is the rarity of the situation, along with, frankly, the absurdity of the endeavor. It's the kind of thing that gets the public interested, testing new grounds for ocean exploration. And as unfortunate as it may be, we hear about tragedies all the time on the news, but it's usually the same stuff. We don't really hear about things like this very often. When I first heard about what was going on, I didn't care about how much money the guys had. I wasn't thinking, oh no, not the rich guys. Hell, to be completely candid with you, I don't even really know all that much about the passengers at all. I know a little bit, I did a little bit of reading, but I don't really know all that much. Then there's the element of suspense. In most cases, when we hear about tragic events on the news and whatnot, we're also told the ultimate outcome. Were people injured or killed? How many people? How severe was it? In this instance, we had no idea. It took days for the Coast Guard to discover, LOL. It took days for the Coast Guard to discover what had happened. And before that, everyone was just praying and hoping that the men could be found and brought home safely. Although it's very sad, it's also a story that's very intriguing. it's not that hard to see why people would get invested in it. Now, regarding the memes and all the humor and all that stuff that's been brought about by these events, is this something that we should be laughing at? Operating solely on my moral compass and nothing else, I'm gonna say the answer is no. At the end of the day, lives were ultimately lost. These men had families, and their expedition cost them their lives. I think one of the passengers was only like 19. Bouncing off the idea that tragedies happen every day and why are we so focused on this one, we also don't laugh at every single tragedy that occurs, so why are we laughing at this one? Maybe all the publicity has nothing to do with the fact that the men were wealthy. Maybe it has something to do with the hundreds of memes spawned by an event that ended with 5 people dead. Okay, so now that that's all in the open, and before you go down in the comments calling me a sensitive little bitch, it's time for a little bit of honesty on my part. I can't deny that I have kind of a dark sense of humor. I feel like some of you guys might already know that. I also sort of embrace the fuck your feelings mindset a little bit. Not to the point where I'm an apathetic douchebag, but offensive humor doesn't really bother me all that much. One thing though that I will say with pretty much absolute certainty though is I think these memes are a bit ill-timed, I'm not gonna lie. But as someone who's making a YouTube video for the whole internet to see, I'm trying to act as a voice of reason that everyone can find some common ground with. I think at the end of the day, humor is very complicated. It's different with everyone. And I know that memes can be quite cathartic for a lot of people, but I really am holding on to the idea that it's just too soon, at least for me. As for you, dear viewer, I'll leave you with this. How you react to this whole predicament is up to you. I really don't give a shit.